There is no doubt that Iran has indeed given nightmares to both Israel and the US. Before the fateful day of February 28th, both Israel and the US had so severely underestimated Iran. Both of these superpowers were thinking that if they were to preemptively and suddenly attack Iran and also eliminate the heads of the nation, in just a few days, Iran would fall to its knees. But right now, what we are witnessing is Iran giving a very tough time to both Israel and the US, even though it doesn't have the extremely expensive munitions, nor does it have extremely advanced systems, and it also doesn't have any support at all. And to be honest, if Iran had all the same level of military equipment and systems as its enemies had, they would have certainly won the war within 1 week. The sad part is that even in these turbulent times, the Muslim Ummah is divided. The Gulf countries are unable to pick their sides. Prince Salman openly declared Iran as their enemy in the GCC Council, but he wasn't able to name even once the ones responsible for starting this war, those being the US and Israel. Instead of talking about unity and abandoning sectarianism, Prince Faisal did the exact opposite, but surprisingly, there are still some who don't agree with his opinions. Some well-known scholars have released statements to not fall into politics and tricks of the US and Israel, and instead unite as an ummah. The most prominent of them being Grand Iraq's top Muslim Shia cleric, Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Ali al-Sistani. In a statement, he vehemently denounced the ongoing battle between the United States and Israel on Iran. In that statement, he also called for Muslims all across the globe to stand united with the Ummah and not let manipulation and lies create division among them. We use the strongest words to condemn this oppressive war and call on all Muslims and freedom seekers of the world to condemn it and show solidarity with the oppressed nations of Iran and Lebanon, the statement said. Also, the Grand Mufti of Libya, Sheikh Sadiq al-Ghariani, has urged Muslims worldwide to support Iran in the face of ongoing conflicts with the United States and Israel, framing this support as a religious obligation. The point here to note is that al-Ghariani is the highest Sunni religious authority in Libya. In his recent statement, he asserted that sectarian differences should not hinder unity against a common enemy, calling Iran a Muslim nation that should not be abandoned. And the even more eye-opening part is that he announced that in such situations, when the state of all Muslims is at stake, there is no option for neutrality, because this indeed is a war between Islam and the adversaries of Islam. There is no doubt about it. There is no element of politics and geopolitics in it. The ongoing war is solely a war that has been waged on a religious basis. Multiple US politicians, including Lindsey Graham and Pete Hegseth, had even admitted it openly themselves. Pete Hegseth has even openly called for the destruction of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the building of a third Solomon Temple on the same site.
And today, Jennifer and I and others had a chance to go see the Western Wall of the Temple Mount, the Western Wall tunnels, so much of the old city. And as you stand there, you can't help but behold the miracle before you. And it got me thinking about another miracle that I hope all of you don't see too far away. Because 1917 was a miracle, 1948 was a miracle, 1967 was a miracle, 2017, the declaration of Jerusalem as the capital was a miracle, and there's no reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible. I don't know how it would happen. You don't know how it would happen, but I know that it could happen. That's all I know. And a step in that process, a step in every process, is the recognition that facts and activities on the ground truly matter. And that's why going and visiting Judea and Samaria, understanding that sovereignty, the very sovereignty of Israeli soil, in Israeli cities, locations, is a critical next step to showing the world that this is the land for Jews and the land of Israel. And I believe, as was mentioned, he said you need to, what was mentioned is you need to buy the ticket. Don't just wish for 40 years to win the lottery, buy the ticket. I would submit to you, in light of the support you have in Washington, D.C., the support you have amongst patriotic Americans, amongst evangelical Christians, amongst believers, amongst Republicans, even amongst some Democrats who can barely say it anymore in Washington, buy the ticket, take your action, do what needs to be done here in Israel, because I truly believe this is a moment where America will have your back. You have Donald Trump in the White House. You have Mike Pence as vice president. You have Nikki Haley at the UN. You have true believers in Israel and America that have your back.
The US ambassador to Israel recently went viral after he unapologetically stated that all the region that falls between River Nile and River Euphrates belongs to Israel alone, and the nations that come between them, like Jordan and Egypt and Syria, should all give up their lands and offer them to Israel.
You've appealed to Genesis. Genesis 15 says it's Abram, it's pre-Abraham, it's Abram, receives from God the news that his descendants will inherit the land, and you tell me as the theologian if I'm getting this wrong, but from the Euphrates to the Nile. I think that's right. And that would include like basically the entire Middle East. That would be the Levant, so that would be Israel, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon. It would also be big parts of Saudi Arabia and Iraq. It would be,
I'm not sure it would go that far. I mean, it would be a big piece of land, but here's the point.
It would be a lot of places that are now countries.
But this particular area that we're talking about now, Israel, is a land that God gave through Abraham to a people that he chose. It was a people, a place, and a purpose. We can look at it that way. Christian Zionism, I want to go back because that's where we started on this.
I'm not going to let you off on this because you have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. And so it is entirely fair for me with respect to ask, what land are you talking about? Because I just read Genesis 15, as I have many times. And that land, I think it says, from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is, once again, basically the entire Middle East. So God gave that land to his people, the Jews, or he didn't. You're saying he did. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis. You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
These are the statements of not far-right ministers of Israel, but of US officials. Therefore, it does make it clear that the ongoing war is not random, it's not political certainly, and is also following an evil plan, a plan to divide the Muslims from within and then conquer their lands. A plan to never let Muslims join hands together and never let them realize the real enemy of theirs. Because if all the Muslim leaders of 56 nations, all the 2 billion Muslims, joined hands and set aside their differences, there would be no chance for the adversaries of Islam to win. This fact is that both Israel and the US are fully aware of, and this is why they will not let that happen. It's unfortunate that Muslim leaders are still being delusional and treating the ongoing war as a political one. The speech given at the GCC summit by Prince Faisal was not at all beneficial to anyone but Israel and the US. That speech of viewing Iran as un-Islamic or working against the interests of Islam is what the West wanted the Muslims of Arab nations to believe, but they weren't able to say so clearly as Prince Faisal did with giving reference to Quranic verses. One should always follow the Quran for its guidance, but it should never be used to create division in the Ummah and to help the adversaries of Islam. It's so unfortunate that only a few scholars, like the Grand Mufti of Libya and the Grand Ayatollah of Iraq, have urged Muslims to show unity in such difficult times, while the celebrity scholars, whom the whole world reveres, are trying to either be silent or stay neutral to avoid repercussions. There are only 2 sides of the situation right now present in front of us. Either we are standing with Iran or we are standing with Israel and the US. There is no other side, and there is no option to be in the middle. Therefore, it's time to pick your side. Either support the ones who declare the oneness of Allah and follow His messenger Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or support those who reject Allah altogether and have taken a path to destroy Islam completely from the face of the earth. The choice is yours to make. And hold firmly together to the rope of Allah and do not be divided. Remember Allah's favor upon you when you were enemies. Then He united your hearts, so you, by His grace, became brothers. And you were at the brink of a fiery pit, and He saved you from it. This is how Allah makes His revelations clear to you, so that you may be rightly guided. May Allah guide us all to the straight path. May Allah save us all from the tricks of the enemies. Aamin.